What's going on, everybody? Today is going to be a bit of a controversial video. I'm sure that I'm going to get a lot of hate in the comments by various sources by putting this out. But I wanted to take a look at the economies of Marvel Snap and DC Dual Force being the two newest card games on the market, both being superhero focused. There's a lot of inevitable comparisons drawn between the two games, although in my opinion, the games at a core level could not be more different. There's just going to be a lot of inevitable comparisons. So what I wanted to take a look at today was the two main subsets of players and what the economy and, progression is going to look like for those two types of players. Those two types of players being a fully free-to-play player, one who will not spend a single dollar on the game, and then the second type of player being the monthly pass-only type of player. The monthly pass in both Snap and DC Dual Force is $10 for both games, so I think it's a fair comparison. And other than that, like the whale crowd or the krakens or all of that stuff, I'm not really going to touch on any of that just because if you spend enough money in any game, you're going to do well, and I don't think it's really worth breaking down. A couple caveats that I wanted to put out there before I really get too deep into this comparison. The first thing is I'm going to try and be as unbiased as I possibly can. I'm a human. You guys know my opinions on both games in general, so I am not going to claim that this is going to be a 100% perfectly flawless, unbiased take, but I'm going to try my best, and I hope if there is areas where I do get particularly biased or anything slips through, I hope you guys will call me on that down below in the comment section. I am inviting that. I want honest and open data and dialogue. The other thing is I am not going to try and extrapolate the 100% optimal, min-max, full grind type of free-to-play player. The reason why I don't want to do that is that's not your normal free-to-play player. Not every player is going to play, 2, 3, 4 hours a day to fully maximize everything. But also B, if we're being completely honest, a player that will hit their dual coins cap in Dual Force daily grinding free-to-play is going to progress way faster than your average Marvel Snap player that does their full max free-to-play grinding. So I didn't think that was as fair as a comparison, both because I don't think it's realistic to expect that from players, but also because the gap between the two just kind of gets massive if you want to go the full grind route. So we're going to kind of leave that, and there's going to be some other, parts where I need to inject some context in throughout the times, and I will try my best to keep up with all of that context as we go. I tried to make some quick graphics to use as a guideline as well, just for what I'm talking about. But also, these are not 100% full pictures. There's other things that are included. So the first thing that I wanted to walk through was the full free-to-play experience. So this is how long it will take you from starting the game to getting a somewhat reasonable collection. What can you expect on a daily, weekly, monthly, whatever basis with your free-to-play rewards, things like that. So let's start with Marvel Snap. Marvel Snap, their release schedule includes 4 new cards per month. One is your monthly season pass card, and then there will be 3 cards released in Spotlight caches, 1 per week throughout the month. So they get 4 new additional cards per month on top of the baseline of cards. You start on Series 1, or your recruit track, and then you work your way up through Series 3, and then Series 4 and 5 kind of live in this nebulous outside zone, outside of normal progression, where you'll mainly get those cards by opening Spotlight caches, and you earn those Spotlight caches by progressing up your normal collection track. Every 10 normal collector's reserves, one of them will be a Spotlight cache, and those Spotlight caches, the way they work is every week there'll be 4 cards, or 4 boxes, we'll call it. Think of it like a grab bag in your Spotlight cache. One is the brand new card of the week. The other 2 are curated selection of cards by Second Dinner. There's no guarantee that any specific card will be in a Spotlight cache ever or at a given point. They've done an okay job at rotating these cards, but in general there's been a couple, multiple repeats. But just 2 hand-selected cards by Second Dinner. And then the 4th slot is a random card weighted at 66% to be a Series 4 card and 33% to be a Series 5 card. There is no duplicate protection, and if you do randomly pull a card that you already own, you will receive 1,000 collector's tokens as a reward. Okay, now with that groundwork laid with kind of how card acquisition works in Snap, I want to kind of cover what you can expect in a month as a free-to-play player. Again, some context here. I'm not including rewards that you can gain by leveling up to Infinite. Just like in Dual Force, I will not be including rewards that you can gain on that ladder as well. I don't think it's fair as a free-to-play breakdown, or really any breakdown of an economy, to assume players to be winning at a certain rate in order to get rewards. So just like I will not be including the maximum optimized grinding, I will not be including the ladder rewards either. Honestly, the ladder rewards are, for both, are fairly similar. I think if I tried to really get too nitpicky about the two, it would probably just be my bias showing through. So we'll call that a wash and just not include it. So the calculations can be a bit fuzzy. But from what I've seen in recent batches of players for Marvel Snap is if you start an account today, you can expect to be fully Series 3 complete in, 6-ish months. It's probably closer to 6 months, maybe a little bit less than 6 months. Now that does not mean that you will not be acquiring Series 4 and 5 cards during that time. But, the kind of baseline player progression system is completing Series 3 or most of Series 3, and the reason for that is as new cards come out in Spotlight caches, you'll still be able to gain them as a free-to-play player, but a lot of those cards require specific Series 3 cards in order to build those decks. So to really maximize new cards that you'll be getting, you kind of need to have your Series 3 complete to really be able to build, quote-unquote, your typical meta lists. So you're looking at roughly 6 months for your 0 to Series 3 completion. On top of that, while playing the game monthly, the free track of the Season Pass for Marvel Snap, you will gain enough credits to get you roughly 42% of a Spotlight cache just on the Season Pass. Spotlight caches, I believe, take around 6,000 credits, and you'll get about 2,300 for free by leveling up your Season Pass. Now, that doesn't mean you'll only get 0.42 spotlights per month as a full free-to-play player. You'll likely get more if you are, min-maxing your grinding, getting every single one of your daily quests completed. But again, I don't think that is a fair comparison for most players. But just know that you'll probably get, I believe the full free-to-play breakdown is like 2 to 3-ish spotlights per month, maybe 3-ish. And there are ways to optimize pulling your spotlight caches to try and make sure that you get new cards. But typically, if you're a new player, all 4 cards in the spotlights are going to be new every month or every week, so it's not like you'll be hitting a lot of duplicates. That doesn't become a problem until probably around that 6 to 7 month point when you are finishing your Series 3 and you've been interacting with spotlights for 6 months. Then it becomes a little bit more tricky where you really need to make sure you save all 4 spotlight caches, because you'll have duplicates inside of your spotlights every week. And in order to make sure you get that one new card, you need to make sure you have at least 4 boxes available so that if you do get unlucky, you'll be able to get that one new card. I don't want to turn this into a spotlight cache optimization video, but the context there is your likely number is, a decent amount higher than your 0.42 spotlights per month if you are fully max grinding, but this is your guaranteed rewards. And the credits that you'll need to gain experience to level up your Season Pass, you'll probably get closer to 1.5 spotlight caches just by, doing enough quests or whatever to level up your Season Pass. That is also, I guess, a difference between the 2 Season Passes. A Season Pass in Marvel Snap requires experience to level up. You'll gain some experience by playing the game. You also get experience through your daily quests, and then they'll have weekly quests. If you complete, you'll get large batches of experience, which level up your Season Pass. Whereas in Dual Force, it is just simply a daily login. They have around 20 rewards, so in a 30-day month, you just need to log in, 2 out of every 3 days to get all of your rewards. So, Marvel Snap again. your monthly season pass, you'll get about a little less than half a spotlight cash. If you're doing enough quests to level up your season pass to get all of those credits, you'll likely probably get around another spotlight or so. But it depends, because if you don't do your daily quests and you literally just rely on your weekly quests, you might not get all of those same credits, which is why we're not going to try and predict player behavior. You'll also get both a mix of random cosmetics and I think you get one guaranteed cosmetic seasonally. If you finish the season pass, you'll get the season pass card back, I believe. It's either a card back or an avatar or something like that. So you'll get one guaranteed cosmetic, and then you'll also get one random mystery variant. I believe those can only be the 700 gold. I think they're designated as rare variants in Marvel Snap. So you'll get one of those randomly. And then additionally, as you're leveling up, if you are opening your collector's caches, your collector's reserves, things like that, you can get just a variety of random cosmetics, being, you know, the 700 or pixel variant type things, avatars, titles, just a litany of random cosmetics. The value of those, you know, varies from, like, some of these variants are hot garbage, but some of them are, you know, pretty nice for 700 gold. So the quality is going to vary based on how lucky you are with your pulls. So we're not going to say they are good, we're not going to say they're bad, we're just going to say you're going to get random cosmetics, some of which you'll probably like, some of which you probably won't like. So heading on over to DC Dual Force. Calculations that we've had, you know, it's not going to be 100% accurate right now because there has been some recent changes in the quest economy. But typically, it has taken players 2 to 3 months to get between 80 to 90% collection complete. That was pre-crafting, so I don't have a good number on post-crafting. And the 80 to 90% number typically means you have every single common in the game, every single rare in the game, most of the super rares, and then most of the cards you're missing will be random ultimates. Ultimates in Dual Force range from some are just universally good in like every single deck, you know, want those kind of cards. Honestly, some of them are incredibly niche and or bad. So I think the fairest comparison is the basically collection complete in Dual Force, the 80 to 90%, is very similar to being Series 3 complete in Marvel Snap, where in general you can build most meta lists, maybe you have to slot in a card or two. I think that is the closest direct comparison. It's hard though because obviously they are two different kinds of progression type game systems. So I'm trying to find the closest comparison point to make. Additionally, in Dual Force, for all players, there are 2 PvE comics available to all players per month. The PvE content, I think, is fairly solid, but again, I'm going to leave my opinion on it out of these rankings or judgments. We're going to say you get 2 PvE comics per month. Those comics include enough coins for half a pack. You will get 1 new card, and you typically get some sort of cosmetic, whether it's a card back or a profile icon, which is, you know, the equivalent of a Snap avatar. Those 2 free PvE comics include 2 out of the 14 new cards that are released per month in Dual Force. That is 10 cards that come out in a mini set every month, and then 4 cards that come out through comics. The comics are in a way where 1 week it is a free comic for everybody, and then the next week it is a paid comic for the Season Pass subscribers. So if you are free to play, you get those 2 free comic cards per month, and then the 10 mini set cards and the other 2 comic cards are immediately craftable. You do not need to wait until the end of the month to get the new cards when they come out. If you have the resources saved, you can craft everything immediately. There's no time gate on any of those cards. And then similarly to Marvel Snap, you get a handful of seasonal cosmetics. These are not random. They are set for everyone. You know, typically we get an emote that you can use in game, an avatar, profile icon, and once in a while we'll throw in some card backs. You know, things like that. Both are getting cosmetics. They're more set in stone in Dual Force, whereas Snap you get some random ones. But the amount of cosmetics, I think, are pretty similar between the two. If we're going, you know, percentages of cards unlocked, you get it's tough, again, because the Spotlight caches, in general, should guarantee you stuff early on, but they are kind of diminishing returns as your collection gets built up. You also need to play enough to guarantee to even get a Spotlight cache. On average, you're going to get 1 new card per month, which can equate to 25% of the new cards, but it also might be old cards. That's a really hard comparison to make. But in general, you know, you can expect, not counting your grinding, to get 1-ish new cards per month. Probably a little bit more than that early on, and then it'll dial back to maybe even less than 1 card per month as a fully free-to-play, unless you're max grinding. In Dual Force, you'll get 2 out of 14 new cards per month, and then optionally you can craft your other ones. I think the biggest thing that stands out in the full free-to-play section, besides the crafting, is the amount of time it takes to get to kind of that baseline. I know back when I played a lot of Marvel Snap, Series 3 Complete was essentially when people said, like, this is when the game starts. So I think the time it takes to get to that Series 3 Complete is, you know, pretty different between the two games. So I think that's the biggest thing that stands out as a full free-to-play player. One advantage that I think Snap has for, I guess, the psychological aspect of being a new player is, I guess, twofold. One, in Marvel Snap, you have conditional matchmaking with your collection level until you, I think, hit Series 3. So Series 1 and 2, you'll only basically match with other new players. And on top of that, Marvel Snap, even once you exit Series 2 and go into Series 3 and beyond, you know, anywhere from like 30 to 60% of your matches on the ladder will be against bots. Those really help you feel like you're not being overmatched by people who have way better cards than you. So I think that on-ramp for Snap is a little bit smoother. Despite the fact that it takes longer to get a meaningful collection, I think some of those steps that they've taken early make it feel better, because early on you're getting bombarded by new cards, so that feels really good, despite the fact that it slows down later. And then you're also playing either similarly new players and or bots, which make you feel like you're good at the game early, which can feel really good as you're building up your collection. So I think the on-ramp that Snap has is better, but I think the free-to-play progression in Dual Force is better. And I think both of them can learn some things from each other. I think Dual Force needs to do a better job at that on-ramp. Being that it's a smaller player base and they prioritize fast matchmaking, there can be times where a new player might get matched with somebody ranks above them that have a more complete collection, just trying to make sure you get a match quickly, which can feel bad as a new player. So I definitely think that Dual Force should work on improving their on-ramp for new players. Whereas Snap, I think, needs to figure out their no man's land, where as you're approaching Series 3 Complete, you start playing people that have all of the cards, and you're still far off from, you know, having optimized deck lists. So their on-ramp is better, but in Snap, I feel like you fall off a cliff. Whereas in Dual Force, their on-ramp is not as good, but you kind of progress much more quickly and even out where you become even with others. This comparison, I think, is a much closer comparison than the one we'll get into in a second. And I don't want to discount the psychological portion of Snap's on-ramp. I think having something that feels good like that can actually make, even if your progression is not as good, it can make it feel better, because you're making sure to keep the players', you know, feelings and mindsets kind of top of mind. I think that is by far the best thing that Snap does for their new players. So next, let's dive into what I will call moderate spenders. Your $10 per month, I only buy the season pass and nothing else type of spenders. Let's hop right on into that. So here we have season pass only rewards. This slide is in addition to the previous rewards, so everything on the previous slide obviously applies, because you will get all of the free-to-play rewards plus more. So Snap, if you buy your monthly pass, the main thing that you're getting, the main reason that you are buying the monthly pass, is you are getting 1 new card guaranteed, the season pass card. So essentially you're getting 25% of the new cards added to the game in exchange for your season pass. That is by far and away the greatest portion of value, in my opinion, is that you are getting a guaranteed card in exchange for $10. That is good. Additionally, you will get, I think it's roughly 300, 400 credits additional on the Season Pass track. So that equates to, a little less than 10% of the Spotlight cash. So your 40-ish% goes to 50-ish%. Again, not counting your grinding of quests and rewards. You will get premium currency. I think your paid gold you get on the track, I believe, is 800 or 900 or so. So you're getting a little bit more than one rare variant in the store. The optimized progression system would be not to spend that on variants and save that for gold bundles. But I'm not going to tell you how to spend your premium currency. I'm just telling you get, roughly the equivalent of a little bit more than one rare variant. I think if you count the free track as well, you'll wind up with just under two rare variants, or essentially one super rare variant. Super rare variants are 1200 gold in Marvel Snap. And then additionally, you will get more seasonal cosmetics. There's always, I think, an additional card back in the Season Pass. There are a couple dedicated variants, one being the Season Pass card, and then there's a couple, usually I think two other Season Pass cards that are kind of loosely tied to the theme of the season. So if it's a discard season, you'll get two other discard cards, and they'll get some variants, and then you'll also get avatars for those variants as well. So we're going to just call those seasonal cosmetics. You get a handful of them. They come out to you. But again, the by far biggest benefit of buying the Season Pass in Marvel Snap, I do not want to understate this, is the guaranteed card. Because playing the Spotlight game gets tricky. Again, I don't want this to be a Spotlight optimization video, but Spotlights are only good if you are 100% optimizing, meaning saving 4 at a time to open them, you are grinding enough to get 3 or 4 per month as a free or moderate spender, you save them, you use them on the correct weeks when you are missing multiple cards. If you're not missing multiple cards, typically you should not be opening your Spotlights. And if you do anything other than that, the quality of that system goes from almost okay decent to absolutely garbage tier. So my advice is make sure you're optimizing, find a guide, do all those things to make sure you are maximizing your value from the Spotlights. But the main reason you buy your Season Pass in Marvel Snap is to get that additional card, that guaranteed card, especially because in Marvel Snap, your Season Pass card is time-gated. It is locked until the following month. So if there is a Season Pass card, like the most recent season in Marvel Snap, Loki was released, Loki is only attainable through the Season Pass until the next month comes around, which I think starts tomorrow. So starting tomorrow, you can get Loki either in Spotlight Reserves, or basically Spotlight Reserves, or the random box in a Spotlight. Before that, Loki was only attainable if you purchased the Season Pass. So it is a kind of time-locked, time-gated premium reward. On Dual Force, we take a look at what you have over there. Every month in Dual Force, there is a mini set released, which is roughly 10 cards. You'll have, one ultimate card, which is like a legendary card, 2 super rares, a handful of everything else. So when you purchase your Season Pass in DC Dual Force, you get 2 things instantly. One is you get 10 packs per month, guaranteed. That basically already kind of pays for your Season Pass, but, the value of packs kind of tapers off as you get a better collection, but you can also still use that for crafting. But in general, I'm not going to try and assign value to packs. Just say that you receive 10 packs, which is extra good when you're first starting out. And then as your collection builds, it can be good crafting materials. So you get 10 packs, as well as you get the mini set instantaneously. You open that immediately, and you can immediately play with all 10 mini set cards at the beginning of the month. Additionally, you will get 2 additional comics. So like I mentioned before, 2 comics per month are free, 2 comics per month are premium. You'll get those premium comics as they release over the course of the month, and those comics additionally will have a card attached with them, some coins, things like that. And then you'll get the premium login rewards, which the main highlights of the premium login rewards are you get basically the newest mini set that came out this month. In the premium track, you will get deluxe copies of those cards, which more or less is think of like a golden card from Hearthstone, the animated cards. So you'll get the entire mini set animated on your daily login rewards. You will get some additional cosmetics on that premium track as well. Again, cosmetics are cosmetics. They vary in value based on how much you like them. So just like I'm not going to assign any value to the Snap cosmetics, I'm not going to assign any value to the DC Dual Force cosmetics. Cosmetics are cosmetics. If you like them, they're good. If you don't, they're not. And then the big tagline, I think, that kind of goes under the radar when it comes to the monthly pass for DC Dual Force is those last two items in the list. And what that means, because it can be a little confusing, is let's say you start playing Dual Force a year from now. So over the course of that year, there have been 12 mini sets that were released. There have been 24 premium comics. There have been 24 free comics, some of which may get rotated out and go into the vault. I think they only keep around a page or so of comics at a time. When you purchase the Season Pass in DC Dual Force, you immediately gain access to everything before that point. Meaning, if I join 12 months in and I buy the Season Pass, I will get all 12 previous mini sets, basically every single one of them. Now that is the kind of on-ramp I'm talking about, but the value of that on-ramp doesn't come for delayed time. So basically, if there's 12 previous mini sets, you buy the Season Pass, you instantaneously get 120 new cards for your collection. You also gain access to all old comics, all old free comics, all old premium comics. You can play through all of them and get all of the rewards and cards associated with them. So it's basically like a one-time buy-in gains you access to everything before that moment. So that was like a similar thing in Marvel Snap. That would mean if I bought a Season Pass in December, I would get the seasonal card from January through December, plus any other rewards I might have missed. Honestly, I think that is a huge piece of the value proposition of Dual Force. Having that kind of catch-up mechanic is gigantic for a new player. And I think that is the kind of thing that they need to be hammering home in their advertising, is how easy it can be to catch up after you haven't played the game for a while. Finally, the final thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the economy for moderate spenders, I don't want to judge the quality of either, so I'm going to simply give numbers and not give any commentary on this. The cosmetic bundles for both games, if you are a moderate spender in DC Dual Force, a card back will cost you about $4 in actual dollars, but the premium currency to purchase, I think the lowest denomination is $5, so I'm going to round up and say a card back costs about $5. A bundle, there's varying bundles, but your average leader bundle in DC Dual Force will give you 5 packs of cards, a new leader, or an alternate art leader, or something to that effect. You'll get a card back, an emote, and an avatar, and that will run you approximately $13. But again, if we say you have to buy it in packs of premium currency, we'll round up and say about $15. If you compare that to Marvel Snap bundles, there's varying bundles in that game as well. Sometimes they have some really, really good $5 bundles. But on average, your cosmetic bundles are going to cost between $25 and $35, and that will give you typically one new variant and varying levels of credits and or boosters or things like that. So again, it depends on what you personally value, what you personally want. I'm not going to assign value to either one of those. I just wanted to drop the dollar amounts, and you do with that information as you will. So yeah, that is the overall baseline economies for both games. Like I mentioned, you can min-max both games if you are the type that will grind, dozens of games per day. The Snap economy gets better if you're willing to do that. The DC Dual Force economy gets better if you're willing to do that. Both games have ladder rewards that you can unlock by progressing through the ladder. Snap also has some Conquest rewards that you can get by playing Conquest. DC Dual Force has some rewards you can get by playing comics. Basically, for both games, the more you play, the more rewards you can get. But in general, I wanted to lay the baseline of, if you are an average player, maybe you only play a couple games per day, you are not maximizing, I'm not hitting credit cap, gold cap, whatever per day. Just wanted to lay out the baseline of what the economy looks like for both games. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comment section. If there's anything egregious that I missed, let me know. I'll have a pinned comment where I will try and fill in any gaps that I might have missed for both games. Don't attack me with a, if you grind out all your credits and you maximize your spotlight caches, here's your min-max in my spreadsheet. I don't play that. That's not how average players play the game. That's not a fair comparison. I think that's being disingenuous. That's just like for Dual Force, if I were to be like, if you hit World's Finest and you hit your gold cap daily and you did XYZ, I don't think those comparisons are beneficial, worthwhile, or honest, to be completely honest with you all. But yeah, if there's anything egregious that I missed or anything I missed at all, let me know. We'll keep a running pinned comment where I will hold myself and the video accountable. I'd be glad to know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.